everyone. Happy New Year. So to kick off the year for my first live, I will be having a very lovely guest coming on with me. Her name is Elena Hall. She is an adoptee and a writer, and I cannot wait for her to come on and share her story and her books. Elena, I see you just came on. Hi, Katia. I'm going to bring on Elena right now. Going live in just a second.
Hi.
Hey, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Oh, I think we have one. Oh, how do I get out of there? Okay. How was your day?
I am so tired because this was my first day back to work because I took all of last week off, which is amazing and wonderful. But it's always hard to come back to work. So.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I hear you. Hi, Robbie. Hello. I said hi to Katia. Hi, Frankie. Welcome. Guess we're waiting just a little bit just for more people to come on. How's the start of your new year going?
Good. Just kind of organizing for the year and for work. What about you?
It's going well. Going well. Hi, Fee. Welcome. Hi, Nikki. Hello. Yeah, no, it's going well. Just working, full time and just working on the page and just doing a lot of different things, a lot of fun things.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about this, but we have to organize. We have to organize,
We
or else
do.
it just makes it harder in the end. So.
Definitely. Hi, Olive, for sure. So what do you do for work?
So I am a social worker and I work with foster care and adoption. And I work with adoptive parents from the point that they're approved to be adoptive parents all the way to them getting their finalizing their adoption, if it's what's best for them and the family and the whole family unit. So, uh, as we both know, adoption's not ever a first option or, in a perfect world, it wouldn't exist, but it's really cool to see it. Sometimes it can be a really good thing. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. Definitely for children in situations that need a loving home and they don't have anyone. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's awesome. Hi, Jim. Welcome. Hi,
Hey.
everyone. How's everyone's new year? Let me know. I want to know anything exciting happening this year for you that you're planning on doing, or any goals you have. What about you? I know
Oh my
everyone always
gosh.
asks me that, but I never know what to say.
I know. I know. I feel like I haven't had enough time to think about my goals. I think I guess just doing my best at work and just continuing to live each day a little bit more mindfully, being more mindfully thankful and aware of just everything that life gives you because I think that's one thing that I've learned in 2020 is that like nothing's promised. And so yeah, so I'm just encouraged and just praying. I mean, I'm praying every day that COVID ends, but just trying
Aren't
to be
we
more
all?
mindful. Yeah.
Yeah. I've
So,
had just about enough of COVID, so
oh, horrible. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's probably my if I had a goal, that's probably my goal. I guess my goal and my mantra for the year, I suppose. But
Good.
yeah.
Very
But
nice.
someone said, "What a incredible job."
That's Frankie. It's a friend of mine. She's super
Hey.
sweet.
um, yeah, it's really good. I love my coworkers, and it's a huge team effort. So I love to I love to meet the kids and just hang out, and it's interesting. It's really fun when I get to talk to them about adoption, like personally,
Mm-hmm.
because at work you don't always bring your professional life into it, but the
Right.
chances that I do get to do that are super fun. So
That's amazing. Good
yeah,
for you. Hi, Callie. Welcome.
hey,
So I guess we can start. I always say, whoever joins in late or is not able to join, I always save the lives after
okay,
on my page, so they could always go back and watch it.
perfect.
So everyone, this is Elena.
Hey,
She wrote 2 books, Through Adopted Eyes and Through Adopted Hearts, and I believe they're about your adoption story as well as other adoptee stories.
Yes, so Through Adopted Eyes is my story, and then the stories of other adoptees, and then Through Adopted Hearts, I talk a little bit, but then I really hand it over to birth parents and adoptive parents. So
Oh,
it's kind of like
okay.
a anthology of all of the triad, which is super
Yeah.
exciting. So yeah.
Very nice. And you can, where can you purchase this? I think I saw like Kindle and
Yeah,
is
both of
that,
the books are on Kindle and Amazon, and then Through Adopted Eyes is on Audible, and I'm literally right now trying to get Through Adopted Hearts on Audible. So
oh, very cool.
yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna have to go listen to both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so fun to do an audiobook. I that was my first big quarantine project. Is like March hit and my friend was like, "What are you gonna do just at home?" And I'm like, "I think I'm gonna just try to do an audiobook."
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
That's a
So,
big thing to do. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really fun. I got like 50 of my friends and we all just separately quarantining. We all just separately recorded different parts and it was a blast. So, couldn't have done it
Wow.
without them. It was really fun.
That's
So,
amazing. I love that.
yeah.
Jim said he has Through Adopted Eyes. Very nice.
Yay. Hi, Jim. Thank you for reading it.
So, so why don't you tell me a little about your backstory? About what age you were adopted and just how, what age you found out, how you felt growing up.
Yeah.
Just all the fun things regarding adoption.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Russia, and then when I was around 18 months old, my parents got me and brought me to the US. And then they also adopted another girl who is now my sister, and she was born a month after I was adopted, and then came to live with us, and it's just the four of us. And uh, I've always known I was adopted. I can't remember a time that like I didn't know I was adopted. I think that a lot of younger adoptees kind of have a similar story, unless they're a late discovery adoptee.
Right.
And I always felt pretty positive about my adoption. I didn't have any like really hard feelings until, when I was little. It was more just like ignorance is bliss. I was always just like,
Or
I'm adopted.
yeah.
Cool. Like it was very like, there wasn't anything to like think deeply about or,
Right.
it was kind of just like, yeah, that's my life. And so I didn't think about it like really seriously until I was older. But that's kind of gives you like the framework of where I started out from. So
Yeah. What age did you start to feel like it was becoming a struggle for you?
yeah, well, I think when I was younger, I knew that like I was different than some of my other friends, but I think the fact that I had my sister with me, it made it less. I didn't feel excluded. It was more just like, oh, I guess that's just how my family is. And so
Right.
around the age of 12, I kind of have had a moment of like, wait a minute, this is not what life is supposed to be like. Like this was not this is born out of something that wasn't supposed to be. This is not the ideal thing. And so I just kind of had a moment like that's really sad and like there's a reason I had to be adopted. And I just had this very weird juxtaposition of being so excited I was adopted and being so sad that I had to be. And I think that was just a really big moment for me. And then throughout high school, adoption would just come up, like I'm sure it does for you, just in life. It just comes up with certain situations, especially like, being international adoptees. There's a lot of things just about like getting my driver's license that like adoption just came up in conversation. Like just applying for colleges and things and just like it just kind of comes up in conversation. And so I finally just got to the point where I was like, I love talking about it, but at the same time, there's so many things people say to me that really just like aren't okay, which is
No.
why, yeah, it's kind of like, well, I probably shouldn't say that, or like the worst is when people make adoption jokes because it's like they're not funny. I mean, unless we make
What
them,
kind of
they're like,
adoption jokes did you hear?
not necessarily built towards me, but more just in the media of having like, oh, you're adopted as like the punchline for something. Like if they want to be mean towards someone, like that's on like quite a few shows and like in the media, they'll be like, oh, so and so, and it's like, oh, he's probably adopted, and it's like, well, maybe he's adopted, but like that shouldn't be a reason that he's weird or like I just,
Exactly. Yeah.
ugh,
Or singled out. I agree. Wow. But at least you had like your sister to go through it with you. So you weren't completely going through it alone.
yeah, yeah, it was awesome. And my parents were super great. I mean, they were super open about everything, answered all the questions that they could.
Yeah.
They were super excited that our family came together in that way. And they understood the realities of it too. So they were awesome. I very much lucked out because I know that's not everybody's story.
No,
So
it's not. But that's good. I'm glad that you were given a safe place to talk about it, and that adoption is okay.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Hi Krista, hi Kevin, hi Amy, welcome, welcome. Um, so tell me a little bit about, do you know anything about your birth parents and why they gave you up?
No, I literally know nothing, which is hard. I think even if people know bad information, I kind of find myself going like, well, at least you know something. But yeah, I think it's hard to not to know anything. I don't know why. I do know like my birth name and I do know the names that my parents supposedly have. But another thing that's hard is that I don't know how true the information is either, you know? So it's just kind of
Really?
like, yeah.
Would you mind going more into that for
Yeah, like my birth name is super common. It would be like the equivalent of having like Sarah Smith here. And then same with my birth parents. It's just a super common like Dave Jones or I mean it's just super
right?
like just common names. So I think that's kind of hard. And then I don't know. I just think it would be kind of hard to track down. And then there's a lot of with the other Russian adoptees I've met, there's quite a few of us who are just not sure what's copy and pasted into our
Mm,
documents and what's not, which is just tough because it's like, well, I'm a unique individual, but I don't think that my documents show that. So
yeah.
that's been kind of interesting. But I don't know if I want to go back and look for them or not. I don't think I'm ready right now, but I'm definitely not against it. And I think that people that do are so courageous. But I do think I have siblings and like blood siblings. And so I think it'd be really cool to meet them. I just, again, I don't have anything to go off of. I just know that I
Right.
wasn't the first kid born. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, you have to go, do it at your own time. We all go through our healing journeys and we come out of the adoptee fog, and you have to do it when you're ready.
yeah,
And I don't think, we're ever really emotionally prepared 100%, but you have to work on yourself before you do it.
totally.
I did not work on myself before I did it,
Mm,
before I did my search, and I got heartbroken through it. So I distanced myself. I completely cut ties from my biological roots earlier this year because it was just too much for me. So, but I do plan on doing, go for another reunion, but when I'm ready, like really ready this time, and I'm not, whatever the outcome is, I've already learned acceptance.
mm,
So,
yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'll like ever be ready, and I think that's okay too.
yeah,
Especially, but I just like maybe if I was adopted domestically, then I might have a different opinion about it.
it's
Um,
easier, yeah, in the United States to search.
yeah, I think if there was like more of a possibility that I could find them, then maybe I would search, you know?
Yeah,
Because like if I had information to go off of, I would use it. But I think the hard part is I just don't have anything to go off of.
yeah.
So, but I know some people that have more information that have found people really fast and have really enjoyed that. So, someone commented like, "Oh no, I would search out as soon as possible." And
Kevin,
again,
I
I think,
kind of disagree respectfully.
I mean,
I'm
I
not.
think, I think that if, like I said, I think that if I had the information, I would. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, the healing journey takes a long time, and it's very, from I get it from a non-adoptee's perspective. It's different, but adoptees go through a lot of mixed emotions and a lot of trauma. And trauma starts at adoption, and it's just a lot to overcome. So,
I think another thing too is that like I think it's super healthy for adoptees to find out more about themselves. And I
mhm,
think there's different layers of that. So like for me saying I don't want to or I'm not ready to pursue meeting my birth parents,
mhm.
that doesn't mean that I'm not ready to pursue the Russian culture. Like there's different
Of course,
levels of finding
yeah,
out that you're ready to reunify in some way with your culture or your heritage or family or whatever.
exactly.
And I think every single adoptee should have that right to search and find out more things. But I do think that people that aren't adopted need to understand that any kind of searching is emotional, no matter if it's me learning about Russia, no matter if it's me learning about my birth parents. Like there's just a lot of different layers
Oh,
to
absolutely.
that. Yeah, it's so hard
Like I
because
couldn't visit Romania without wanting to go and visit my birth mother. Like
yeah,
because that just like it's not like I'm just visiting like Wisconsin or Nevada
right.
or something. Like this is like a bigger, you know, internationally this is a bigger deal. This is where like I came from. There's like a lot of history before I was even born with my, biological parents and all, and and then what their decisions affected me growing up.
Totally.
Um, yeah, it's a lot more complicated. I definitely. Um, but yeah, but you again, you have to go. You have to find out on your own terms and when you're ready. So
Yeah.
there's no rush for that.
Yeah, I loved going back to Russia. I went back in 2015 and it was a blast. And like you said, like there was a lot of hoops to jump through just to even get there because of
Yeah,
citizenship and everything. But I loved going back to Russia. So it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to like learn everything about it. So
yeah.
um,
Kevin,
oh
we understand. It's okay. We are not. We appreciate your input and we value everyone's input on here. Okay.
yeah, I appreciate it. Do you have any other like yeah, let us know if you have like questions about what we think too. And I
Yeah.
totally agree that if I had a different life path, I might agree with you more.
Right. And everyone has a different story, different trauma. But yeah, I completely understand. When I actually was going to, when I applied for like to become, I guess, registered to vote, like when I was 18, I had to bring my birth certificate. My birth certificate's in Romanian, and I don't understand a thing.
Yep.
And I remember the woman giving me a hard time, and I went with my mom, and she kept asking me questions after questions, and just very disrespectful, and like not like making like putting the ties together. um, so I'm just like, I finally just said, like, I'm adopted.
Right.
Finally had to stop her and say, I'm adopted. This is why I have a Romanian birth certificate.
Right.
Um, but she backed off when I told her. But yeah, there's a lot of hoops to go through with
Yeah.
that.
And there's just like a lot of things that like are not common knowledge. And that's again part of why I wrote Through Adopted Eyes, because I was like so sick of kind of re-explaining things and not in like a I feel like that sounds disingenuous, but I just mean like I just feel like there were so many things that I just needed to share
Right.
as efficiently as possible. So I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, yeah, I was getting my license when I was 16, and I had to show my Russian birth certificate, and that was an interesting time. And I have since taken the Russian language, and I'm still really bad at it. It's
Yeah.
super hard, but it's cool to kind of it helped me kind of keep that drive to keep on studying it even after I've graduated.
Yeah,
So that's been
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, when I found out I was adopted, of course, when I was 8, I was young and all, but as I got older and through like my preparation to go searching for my birth family, I decided to get all these books for like on Romania and get like a translation book, and I
hmm
would like start teaching myself Romanian, and I was just like, when I get there, I'm gonna be able to say this to this person. I'm gonna be able to talk to my birth mom,
mm,
so I got like really excited. I started learning the food, like different foods, and like what oh, maybe I could make some like learn some recipes and all. And then, of course, when I found my birth mom, it was kind of a letdown. She didn't really want anything to do with me, and then I found out a bunch of other things. I'm the product of rape, and it just there's a lot of, like I said, there was a lot of trauma before I was even born with my birth
right.
mother, and then trauma with me and all. And then I just kind of, like I said, I threw, like, I still have all the books, but I have them like thrown away into like a little ottoman, and I'm just like, I don't want to see it anymore,
Right.
at least right now.
Right. Especially like it goes back to what we were saying about like there's different levels of connecting with your adoptee or before you were adopted. There's like, yeah, there's different levels of that. So
Mm-hmm.
do you remember anything in Romanian though? Like, could you say like my name is or whatever?
I know Bună ziua is good night.
Oh,
Um, and I'm trying to say mulțumesc is thank you. Da is yes, but that's, I think, is also in Russian as
yeah,
well.
that one's
Yeah.
same.
um, I know a curse word, so I probably shouldn't say it, but I won't say what it means, but I'll just say it's kute draco.
Oh, okay. Well, now everyone's gonna try and guess
All
what that
right, I
means.
know, I know. I'm about to say it. It's basically F you.
That's so funny that I know
Yeah.
I actually learned a Russian curse word in when I was taking the language because I kept pronouncing something else wrong. And the
Oh
teacher
no.
finally was like, you can't say it like that. Um
Oh, that's
so it's funny. Yeah, good night is доброй ночь. Thank you is spasiba and then yes is da. So
oh, nice. Very
it's
nice.
fun.
See, we learned something.
Yeah, we learned something. We
I
can
said I think
totally
if I go to Romania, I should be good with those few words.
yeah, that's all you need
Uh,
to know. Good night, thanks, and cuss words. It's
and
great.
F you.
Yeah, we're totally good to We're totally good.
Exactly.
That's
Welcome
so
to the
funny.
new people who just joined. Welcome, welcome.
They're probably like, what are y'all talking about?
I know they probably just came on when I was saying F you. They were like, what is happening here?
Oh no.
Um, but yeah, so wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your adopted parents. So like how old was your sister when she came here? You said last year or
So I was 18 months old and then my sister was a year old.
oh okay.
But we're 18 months apart. So it's like I was born and came to the US and then she was born and came to the US. So
Okay.
we're
But
super
different birth mothers
and fathers.
and fathers. But you just call her your sister.
Oh yeah, I don't know
You're
what else I
close
would
to you.
call her. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I
Yeah.
would call her because I mean she's the only sister I've ever known. So
Yeah.
we're both adopted in the same family. So I guess we're adoptive sisters if you want to be super specific. But
I like that.
um yeah,
How does she feel about? Does she have like wanting to go back or search for her?
she doesn't want to really connect as much with Russian culture, but she does think it's like a really fun fact. And actually, me and her recently over the past couple of years have learned all these Russian foods, and we cook together. Actually, she mainly cooks because I can't cook.
Oh,
I'm horrible at
nice.
cooking. And but like just cooking together and just kind of connecting in that way. I probably care more about like the academia side of it, of studying the language and that kind of thing. We're both kind of on the same page about search and reunion. We're just not. It's kind of like if it happens, it happens. We did both do like DNA tests, so
That
I'm
was actually my next question for you. But yeah.
yeah, we're not related. Like we're not sisters genetically. I did think that would be kind of cool. But
Yeah.
we both are Russian. I make a joke whenever I talk to people like I'm glad that I did a 23andMe test because like what if I'm French and like my birth parents were just on vacay? You know what I mean? Like I just was like so worried that I wasn't actually Russian and it was like this huge part of my identity growing up. Like I'm Russian, and I was so proud of that. And
That's so
I was
funny.
like, oh my gosh, what if it's not true? So I am super Russian, and so is my sister.
So you're 100%.
I'm like I don't think anyone's technically like 100% anything, but I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like 98%
Oh
the Eastern
wow.
European. Yeah, which is a lot, especially like have you done a 23andMe test or
I did the ancestry
yeah,
not this past December, but the December prior. And it's funny. My whole life, I thought I was from Romania, so I just assumed that I was 100% Romanian. Until I did the DNA test back, and I got it, and it said I'm half Greek.
okay,
That
wow,
was a big wow.
that's
And then
cool.
I would say about 40-something% was all Eastern Europe. So it was Romanian. I think I'm a little Russian. Um, there was like a whole bunch listed, like any country you name, I'm it.
Right,
And I'm like, wow, like they all are like from somewhere around there.
yeah,
Like I'm literally Europe.
yeah.
And then I have 2% Italian in me.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
really fun. Yeah, no, I was talking to a friend who did it and she said it's very rare to be even in the 70s, 80s, 90s percentage of something.
Mm.
So I guess that just means my birth family was like very much in a Russian village and didn't leave.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, my mom did the test, and she kept saying like, "Oh, I'm 100% Italian." Like, well, she turned out to be like 98% like Calabrese, and I'm like,
Wow.
and then she was like 2% like a different I think a different part of Italy.
Wow. Yeah, that's really, I was going to say it's very rare to be like a super high percent of something, especially if
Mm-hmm.
it's someone that's born here. Yeah, my parents are like, my
Yeah.
mom is like British and Irish or something. But one of my mom's friends who's known my mom since before they got me, it was so funny because um, they were talking about like their DNA results or whatever. And my mom's friend was like, oh, why is Elena's results so different than yours? And then she had a split second where like, oh,
Oh,
duh. But she just for a second forgot. And it was,
that's funny.
yeah. So it was very, we were laughing about
My
that because,
family sometimes forgets I'm adopted, but I don't take it personally. Like I don't take offense to it. I just think like, okay, like they just consider me as I am their part of their family.
totally.
Um, but yeah, I found two cousins on Ancestry that are also adopted. Oh, very cool.
Whoa. Yeah.
So Elena, did you find anybody on there that you match with, like, first, second, third cousin?
No, I think my closest one is a fourth cousin.
Really?
Yeah. Which like we're practically fourth cousins at that point. Like I feel like that's
Yeah.
not very close.
No. Did you
So
try reaching out to them or
yeah,
you didn't?
I messaged the closest person. It was just like, "Hi, do you know anything about the city I was born in?" But they didn't. Nobody replied.
Oh,
So that's okay. But I mean, I've been there, so that's all that matters.
yeah.
But yeah.
Oh,
So
did I ask you, were you in an orphanage, a Russian orphanage when you were younger?
It's kind of a confusing question. So I was not technically in like a children's home, like in an orphanage, but I was in the orphan section of the hospital. So like
Okay.
I was relinquished and like was an orphan, I guess. But I wasn't actually like at a separate, I don't think I was ever transferred anywhere, if that makes sense. So
Okay. Oh, no, it
yeah,
does.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess that's how they do it. Because apparently when you're one, you're supposed to move to an orphanage, but I was 1.5 and I still hadn't been moved because I guess I needed to stay in the hospital. So
Mhm.
kind of crazy. It's crazy to think of like, what if I had moved? You know, like how would my life have been different if I had,
Yeah.
you know, just anyway. So, but
Yeah,
my,
I'm actually in the process, which I actually haven't. This is the first time I'm going to tell everyone. I was going to share it on a post, but I'm doing a different kind of search right now, and it's a search of my orphanage.
yeah,
That. Um, and I'm trying. I've been in contact with someone trying to find out if they could help me find the orphanage I was at, trying to maybe find the hospital I was from.
yeah,
So I just want to know like little details of that I wasn't able to get from my birth mother. Just
totally.
what age I was, like, or how long I was in the hospital for, how old I don't know if it's like a month,
Right.
6 months when I went into the orphanage. And I want to actually see if like I can talk like if there's any women that are still there or
Yeah. Have
that
you ever
maybe
joined
remember me.
have you joined any like other Romanian adoptee groups or anything? Because I'm sure that if you
I
post on there,
haven't.
you have to because I'm part of some Russian adoption groups and there are thousands of us. We're taking over the world. It's fine.
Oh,
And they have tons of information on there for everybody. I mean, every
yeah.
single day someone's like, "Hey, who's from this orphanage?" And it's like, "Oh, me." And you should definitely go join
Well,
all
see,
the
the thing is,
Romanian
I just
groups.
don't know what the name of my orphanage is either.
It's
So that's
okay.
what
I would, if you know a relative area that you're from,
I
I mean,
do.
Russia is a big country and people are finding exact locations. So I think you should definitely go for it. Just join all the Facebook or any adoptee out there searching for more info. Just search like something, something adoptee. Like even if you're domestic, search like Oklahoma adoptee or whatever. Like we found so much information from that. Like that's where we've gotten all of our recipes for food. Like that's where me and my sister have met other people. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
it's been
Very
really
nice.
fun.
Yeah, I do. I am in contact with one woman who's going to help me. She knows all the orphanages in Romania.
Good.
So I'm gonna give her like the city or I would say the city I'm from or the village area, and see if she can find it. And I'm just hoping it's still around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah,
Wow.
that's just a new thing that I've just came across. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
awesome. I hope you find out some good info and
I
something
hope
that's more helpful than harming. I hope you get information that you want and
so. Yeah,
yeah, it's
I
kind of
hope
cool
so.
to learn about that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah. Welcome, welcome, new people. Hello, hi.
hello.
Do you have anybody on here for you?
I saw some people that I knew.
Oh, good.
Some of their profile. It's so funny. I went to a conference before COVID and we were talking about how everybody needs to walk around in real life with their Instagram handle on. So like instead of saying
Mm,
Elena, I need it to say like through adopted eyes, so that so people can know. Oh, здравствуйте, Anastasia. Okay, so she said my sister and I were both adopted from Russia. We're not related. Oh my gosh, same. We were older. She was 12 and 10. Oh my gosh, what up? Same. I mean, yeah, I was younger, but that's so cool. You have similar like family
wow,
makeup.
very nice.
Awesome.
Her
Do
name is
you
Anastasia.
uh-huh. Do you remember any
Oh,
Russian? I'll see if she replies. That's very
yeah.
cool. Um,
Anastasia, I would love to hear more of your story. If you love to DM me after, we'll talk.
yeah. Oh, yay. See, I told you, we're like Eastern European adoptees we're everywhere. So,
I know. She said yes.
oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, definitely follow both of us on Instagram. Duh.
yeah,
Follow us on Instagram because I would love to connect with you more.
yeah.
Um, she said yes in both languages, so that means she can school both of us already, I think.
I could
We need her to be our translator somewhere. So,
definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to Russia. Why
yeah,
not? If I'm going to be over in Europe, I might as well travel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. How big is Romania, do you think? Like how many people?
So I think in just the one where I was from, I think there's only like 30,000.
Okay.
So it's not like too big, the villages. I know Bucharest is the capital,
Mm,
and I think that has a lot more population, but I'm not quite sure how many
yeah.
villages in Romania. I'll have to find out. My friend Kadi is on here. She's also Russian. She just said something.
She said
What
hi.
is?
She said,
Oh,
so she said "Privyet," and that means hi to
oh,
Anastasia.
well, hello.
That's so
In
fun. See,
English.
I know, we're all connecting on here. That's really cool. It's
Yeah,
fun to see you
Kadi's
guys.
very sweet. I don't know if you follow her, but she's you should. She has a beautiful story and she has beautiful posts. She's an ambassador with Adopted.org.
Yes, they're
Um,
great.
yes, Alex is the founder, Alex
Yes.
Gilbert, and he's actually going to be joining me Wednesday night
Good.
for a live.
Alex is really cool. Alex, I read his book before I finished mine, just to
Oh,
kind of get
nice.
connected there. And his story is really cool, and he does a lot of like media things, and um, yeah, I think it's really fun. I will say, like, going back to like my job a little bit, but it's really interesting to kind of compare my story and international adoption with like foster care today, because there's so
Mm-hmm.
many similarities and so many differences. It's so interesting, like, and that's part of again why I did my book, is like to see the similar adoption themes going through,
Yeah,
like similar things and non-similar things, just kind of seeing what's
definitely,
familiar and what's not. And
for
so
sure.
yeah, I just want people to know that like it's okay to be happy about it, it's okay to be sad about it, but like for me again, the differing thing is like you can be happy that you're adopted, but they're sad for the reason why you were. It's kind of, and or you can be sad for both or happy for both. But it's just kind
Yeah.
of like separating those two things. I think is just like really important. So
Hi, Wendy. Hi, welcome. Wendy is another adoptee. She's super sweet. She was on my live a while
hi.
back.
I was gonna say
Um,
hi. I like connecting with
yeah,
all of
I
them.
actually, it's funny. I say the same thing. I always say it's okay to have mixed feelings. It's okay to be happy, but it's also okay to be sad. It's okay to it's a feel like I always felt like disconnected from my birth or from my adoptive family. And I always said like it's okay to feel disconnected. It doesn't mean that you don't love them.
Right.
You have the right to go searching for your birth family when you're ready, and you shouldn't feel like you're betraying them.
Right.
And whatever you feel about yourself or your story or your biological roots is it's valid,
Right.
and no one can tell you that you shouldn't feel that way. People used to tell me like, a lot of people who don't understand were like, wow, you're adopted, that's amazing, that's
Yeah.
incredible. And yes, it is, and I understand what they mean by it, but it's like at the same time it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies, and it had a lot of pain growing up, and
Yeah.
I'm in my healing journey right now, and it takes time, and it's just
Totally.
I was in the adoptee fog for a long time, until recently, so
Yeah. It's
that's
just
why
a
I'm
lot
finally
of
sharing everything.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like I said, when I was 12, it kind of hit me of like, oh, this is not how life was supposed to be. Like this was not like in a perfect world, this shouldn't have happened. And something clearly was very wrong for this to have to happen in my life. And that was kind of like, oh gosh. And then but luckily I was kind of like, well, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah,
And that was kind
exactly.
of a
And
good,
I always say, adopt, at least for me, I always speak on my own personal experience and how I feel is adoption for me, I used to like think it was my weakness.
mm,
Now I'm looking at it as my strength. And I always feel like, it doesn't define me, it shapes me.
mm. I
And
think, wow, I, I've never thought about it like that. For me, I think I had always thought of it as a positive, but it's a different
mhm,
positive now. Like when I was younger, it was like, oh my gosh, how cool. And now it's like, no, there's so many things I've had to learn from this and grow in this. And like, yeah, but similar
yeah,
thing. It's like, okay,
that's
this is
good.
what I'm taking from it. And
So,
yeah, I think, and everybody's different. And
mhm,
I think it's so important to hear from other people. And so like,
absolutely.
I'm glad that you're doing this kind of thing, because it does force you to kind of hear from other people and see what they're going through, and even like people in the comments having different experiences. Like I love that. So
Mhm,
yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot to think about all the
absolutely.
time. Adoption can like
Absolutely.
all in my brain all the time.
I know adoption is on my mind like all the time, especially lately with that with the page, and just having you know all you wonderful people come on with me and share your story. I just can't say thank you enough, because I want to be able to share as many stories as possible, because our voices matter,
Yeah.
and it helps. It's like the ripple effect. Someone speaks up and shares their story, and it gives someone else like that encouragement to do it as well, and they'll be able to people will be able to resonate with them, and then someone else, you can help someone else, and it just like keeps going down. And that's why I'm trying. For anyone who's on it and who are adopted, who wants to share their story with me, come on live. Please DM me. I would love to have you. I want to actually go back to Jim said. I just love that you young people have so many adoptees to talk to. I had to wait 56 years. Jim, I actually, at 32, I am now, I just started talking to my adoptee community. I didn't even know it existed before this year. So, yeah, I wish I had, this community when I was younger growing up, but I'm glad I
So
have it
important.
now.
Yeah. So
Definitely
important,
glad I have
especially
it.
like, especially again, like I said, like the being able to talk to people and like hearing them out, but
Mm-hmm.
still having the thing that unifies us all is that we are adoptees. And like I think,
Exactly.
no matter what we think of it or no matter how we've grown from it or no matter how it's hurt us or something, it's like, but we're all this and like this is something that's so core to who we are that
Mm-hmm.
or it could be as core as we want it to be, I guess I should say.
Right.
That it's something that you can like instantly bond over even if you don't have anything else in common. Like
Right,
I
exactly.
yeah, you can. I just feel like there's so many adoption's just so confusing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that
But like
there's
you
always
said,
a
the
lot to
one
talk
thing we
about.
have in common is that we're adopted, and some of us, sadly, are still in the adoptee fog. Some of us are in a healing journey, as myself, and then some people, I guess, are on the other side. I don't know if you're ever really healed
I don't know.
completely, but I will let you all know
Yeah,
if I
right.
ever, get to that point. But let me see. Welcome. Hi, Bethany. She's my girl. Journey of my Trade Soul. Her and a couple other girls created a page called Kuma Nekta Kapwa, and it's like a community connect for a Philippine community
Oh, cool.
to I believe it was to like reclaim their identity, and they're just a great group of people. Adoptee Lit, hello. Adoption has both ruined me and made me who I am. I couldn't
Mhm.
agree more with you, Chris. Indiana Late Discovery. It's conflicting emotions, absolutely. Yeah, evolving adoptee 33. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you all for joining tonight and hearing us. So as we wrap up, is there anything you want to share? I do have a couple little questions, but I want to make sure you said everything you wanted to say about your
Oh
your
gosh.
story.
I just feel like summarizing adoption is impossible, but I guess for my own personal story, I'll say that faith has played a huge part for me in it, and that it's how I am grounded and well, I'm not always grounded because, like you said, we're not always all healed,
Yeah.
but it's something that I always come back to. So no matter
Yeah.
what the craziness of adoption brings, or no matter what just this crazy world we live in brings, I can go back to that other core thing in my life. And I'm so thankful that I found other adoptees to talk to like you, and I just feel like I learned from all of them because, like I said, no matter if you're positive or negative or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, we can all be a mix of all of those things. And I just want people to find joy in their adoption story, even if it's not from the fact that they were adopted or relinquished or something. It's just like, I want you as an adoptee to be positive about yourself now,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not it's something that you
And
have
what you're
dealt
going
with
to
in the
do with
past.
that pain. Turn that
Exactly.
pain, I always say, turn pain into purpose and power.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually found that from a friend of mine. And when I heard her say that, I was like, wow, like I've started using that because you are turning your pain into purpose. And
yeah.
no, I love everything you said. Keep talking.
Well, and the other quote from my book that, oh gosh, I hate when authors say that. I'm so sorry, everyone. I feel like that sounds like
No,
from
do
the,
it. You should
but,
be proud.
well, one of the things I really like that's kind of the theme for me because I will say that if you guys are struggling with your adoption story, like write or do something through the arts because like sing
Mm-hmm.
it, write it, draw it, because it was so healing for me to write out my story and write out all my thoughts about adoption. Like do it. But one of the things I say is like positivity doesn't mean ignoring the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And one of some theologist was saying like joy and pain coexist, and that's where each of them are true. And it's kind of like whoa, like mind blown. But
I was just gonna say that. Wow, I like that a
yeah,
lot.
so it's just kind of taking that idea that I think adoptees, maybe more than others, if I could be so bold, understand that duality probably more than other people, just because we're automatically born with duality, or at the time of adoption, maybe not just from birth, but we already have the duality that we have to wrestle with. Wow, that was deep. Sorry.
No, I love that. I was just like invested into what you're saying. No,
Yeah,
I definitely love that. Everything you're saying is perfect. Very
yeah.
nice. So, the the last two questions I have for you, it's like a two-parter. What advice would you give to other adoptees? And then the second part is, what advice would you give to adoptive parents?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I kind of answered in that the advice I'd give to other adoptees is to healthily get out your story, healthily process your story. Um, Katarina was like, the deeper the better. No, but just process your story in a healthy way. So whether that's with a close group of friends, whatever, but also don't be afraid to process your story with your adoptive parents. Some of you guys are like, no, I'm never doing that. But if it's not healthy, don't do it. But if you feel like there's a healthy way to do that, then do that. So I guess my advice would just be, don't be afraid to process your story. And it's really, really hard to do, and I'm still doing it, but it's okay to kind of get your emotions out on paper or sing or whatever. So I guess my advice to adoptees is to get in a community with other adoptees, and even if you have differing opinions from them, just like get your adoptee story, just get it out and in a healthy way. I think that would probably be what I'll say today. I'll probably
Couldn't
change my
say it
mind
better
tomorrow.
myself.
Oh, good. And then my advice for adoptive parents is check in with your kids and just know that, oh yeah, Anastasia, me too. Or Anastasia, however
Me
you say it.
three.
Yep, right. But
Yeah.
I would say that with adoptive parents, like check in with your kid and please don't make it about you, in the sense that if I want to go to Russia, that is not because my parents didn't provide me a good home here, right? Like it's
Exactly.
separate things. Like there's a line in the middle of like adoptive parents and stuff I want. And so I just think adoptive parents, just make sure that you're separating in your mind like your role, because your role is the parent, but your role is not the adoptee, and you have to respect the point in your life where the kid was, before the kid was yours, is what I'm trying to say. Like adoptive parents need to hold space for before the kid was theirs, whether that was an hour, a day, 10 years, 50 years, whatever. Like they need to kind of hold space for that. And I think my parents did that really well. They were always encouraging me to learn about the Russian language. They were always encouraging me to like, we would watch Russian like movies and just things, clips on TV. Like they were always just so encouraging. And yeah, yeah, they just really tried so hard, and they're still open to talking about it. And then like I said, I hate adoption jokes in the media, but I think it's also okay as an adoptive family to joke about it. So of course, if everyone's okay mutually about it, but like, or even just culturally, like when I was younger, me and my sister thought we were hilarious because, as we've already said, da is yes in Russian. And so my family would be like, no, duh. And that's so silly, but it was like, haha, we know what we're saying. Like, we just thought we were being like punny, I guess. But
Yeah.
it just kind of having that family bonding that positively makes adoptive parents should not be ashamed how their family came together. So if a parents can kind of like be lighthearted and bond over the fact that you're an adoptive family, great. No matter what way that you do that. So,
Exactly. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember my like my mom and I like have this little joke together. Like she'll say, she's like, I don't know where I came from. I think I was adopted, and it's like a joke I'll say back to me. I say, I think I am too. But it's like something we do together, and then she just looks at me and just rolls her eyes. She's like, yeah, good one.
I love
Um,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
I
but like
love that
I
you
wouldn't do
created
that. Like
that.
if someone else said that to me, I would just be like, do you understand all that behind, But like with my mom, it's like a fun joke between her and I.
Totally. Yeah, like because people that use the word adopted, this is like again why I just wanted to share everything is like people use the word adopted and they don't realize the weight of what they're saying. They're like, oh yeah, adoption, blah blah blah, and you're like, no, but adoption, the core of so much like emotion and
Deeper.
thought, and
Yeah.
absolutely, it's not just adoption. It's like
It's not just,
it's
adopting a child, taking them home, and then that's it for the rest of your life. Like, there's
totally,
so much, in between all of that.
yeah,
Jim
yeah.
said my adoptive parents hated that I searched. I'm sorry, Jim, that you shouldn't have gone through that at all.
Mm.
Adoptee life, yes, it's so important to allow adopted families to be different than biological families. The pressure to be the same is setting us all up for failure.
Yeah.
Agreed, girl, agreed. Chris said, I know my adoption mom hates it. I found out.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
that
hate
was.
that because, like I said, like my parents,
Oh, thank you, Anastasia. Thank you.
like I feel like my parents did a good job in that, like they were never like overly threatened by
Yeah.
how our family came together. I think that what it comes down to is don't be ashamed how your family came together,
Right. And
and
they
don't be
can't take
ashamed of
it
your kid.
personally. It's not about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And
I
also
mean, it
like
is, but not in in that kind of that
Right.
aspect.
And like that's why I think that having family bonding over the fact that of how you're coming together really
Hmm.
bonds your family even more because it's so unique to your family. Like I don't know why the no doll thing was the first thing I thought of, but it
No, I
is. It's
think
like
that's adorable. I
yeah,
love
like we came up with that when I was so little. So just kind of knowing like I don't know. I think that's this happened the other day. I posted about it, but like me and my mom were at a restaurant last week, safely COVID, yay. But we were at a restaurant and the waiter just kind of off the cuff was like, "Oh, you guys look so much alike,"
it.
and it was like, "Well, we don't at all." Like she's also white. Like I don't know. I was kind of like, I don't
I
know.
used to get that all the time. Like people would be like, "Oh, you look like just like your mom," but you know, we're both short. But I'm like, I don't see it. But thank you. I mean, my
Yeah,
mom's beautiful, so it's like thank you. I'll just say thank you. I mean, some
yeah,
people just some things I let slide because I'm like, it's
yes,
just not really. I know it's not in like mean intentions.
sure. But
So
then there's
when
other
I know it's
times.
coming from a good place, like they're complimenting my mom, saying we both look like we're both beautiful. I was like, okay, that's fine.
I totally agree with you. You have to just kind of back out for a second. They don't realize what they were saying. And
Right.
yeah, it's all about intentions.
And not everyone's malicious when they say stuff. Some people just
Totally.
like it's good intentions behind it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
absolutely. Adoptee like it's so interesting in a sad way that adoption is celebrated, but also so full of shame for far too many families where the adoptees crumble on much of that pressure and shame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Again, that's why I think adoptive parents need to not be ashamed of how the family came together. And
Right.
then if there is shame or specific hard things, like there is in every adoptee story, that
Mhm.
the adoptee needs to be supported not only from adoptive parents, but also, again, go find an adoptee community. Go find a,
Exactly.
if you don't have a healthy or appropriate family, go find your own family. Like, go
Yeah,
find a family that,
absolutely.
yeah, go find a pseudonym family. What are they called? That's not right, pseudonym. Whatever. That like to take the place of family and find
Oh,
something that's still that pseudo family. That's what it is. I made it a
oh,
pseudonym. Oh my gosh, pseudo family. Um, but yeah, you're absolutely right because that pressure, I think as adoptees, because like for me, for my example, like I'm missing so much information from my start,
hmm,
but I was also adopted so young. So people are like, well, you were young, and I'm like, yeah, but like most of the
it still doesn't
information,
matter.
yeah, like there was a post on one of the Russian adoptee pages that was like, well, what if all your info was false? And I was like, well, I hadn't thought of that before. And so,
Oh
um,
no.
yeah, so it was just interesting because I had a moment with like, but that's not me and that doesn't define who I am today and what I'm doing with my adoptee story. It's like maybe that is true, but would it really change anything? No,
And going back to the shame, and adoptees should never feel ashamed that they're adopted either.
Oh,
And that's
totally.
something I felt growing up. Like I was ashamed of it because there was so much baggage behind of it, behind it, and just like so
Yeah,
much like trauma and pain that I was just like I didn't want to talk about it, and I
yeah,
just like kind of kept dismissing people, and I never wanted to tell anybody I was adopted. So
yeah,
when people asked me, what I am, I was like, I'm Italian. Like
yeah,
I'm like that, yeah, because my mom's Italian. I was like, I'm Italian. I just never wanted to get into it, but now
right.
I will say it loud and proud. I'm adopted, and my
From a
adoption is
wonderful
making me who
country.
I am right now.
Yep.
So I
Yep. You
thank
got you got a strong heritage and you're from an awesome country. I
yeah,
think that that's one of the benefits too of international adoption is that parents can be excited about the adoption, but also about the culture. So there's like dual ways for the parents to bond with their kid.
exactly.
Um, so
Yeah,
yeah, I think because I had my sister who had like this very similar life experience, I didn't feel as alone. So I
yeah.
think
You
I've
have
just,
someone to hold your hand, like really, like understand, through the whole process.
yeah, even though we fought like cats and dogs, but
Of course, but you did it together,
yeah,
and you understood each other what you were
totally.
going through. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think
um,
that's exactly it.
That'd be like, she loves that you have the support from your family, and yes, community is everything, absolutely, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, you have anything else to add in, or?
I guess this is my pitch to say, please check out Through Adopted Eyes and Through Adopted Hearts.
Yeah,
And if you agreed or disagreed with me, there's 50 other adoptees in the book, so it's not just me. But I would love for y'all to check it out. That'd be great.
okay, awesome. All right,
Hey,
well, I will be posting this for anyone who came in late or couldn't join. Will be putting the video up on my page. I will tag you in it, and I will put both of her books, Through Adopted Eyes and Through Adopted Hearts, in there. But for more information, DM Elena if you need anything or want to ask about them. And seriously, thank you all for joining tonight. We appreciate you. Thank you, Wendy, Bethany. Thank you. Special thank you to Elena. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I love having you.
Thank you. I feel like we processed well together. I feel like I needed this. This was a good start to 2021.
Absolutely. You did a great job. You were my
Thank
first
you.
live of the year, and I'm
Oh,
glad we started with you. So,
that's great. It's a good way to start off.
love you too. Love you all. Elena, have a wonderful night. Have a good rest of the week, everyone. Come back and join me Wednesday night at 7. Bye.
Bye.